Welcome back, Starladder fans, and oh boy, I'm so giddy I can barely speak. We've got BTS history in the making here. One and only Coddle Guy making his debut here for the coverage of Cloud9 versus Team Secret.
Yep, not just my debut doing Beyond the Summit, it's also my debut doing both of these teams since their roster changes, as well as my debut, I think, officially casting Starladder. There was a bit of a hiccup. I had to step in for LD the other night, but I'm not even going to count that as a cast.
And the first time that you and I have actually cast together, so this is just an array of firsts here coming out. It's going to be good stuff. But this is a really big match. Cloud9 versus Team Secret. It's just a big matchup on paper, but we talked about the Cloud9 gauntlet a bit earlier, and they need this win. If Cloud9 lose here, their chances of the top 4 and going to Kiev are looking a little shaky. Still a very small chance. There could be a crazy tiebreak scenario, but they're already kind of in trouble territory with 5 losses.
Yeah, currently Cloud9, they're sporting a 9-5 record in the group stages, and for Secret Team, they're at 7-1, so they're doing pretty strong. But yeah, like you said, Cloud9, they need to make sure they get those W's so they can stay in a good standing in these group stages.
Yeah, and here you go. Y'all can see on the stream 8-5 and the 7-1. Secret are one of the top teams that still have a lot of games to go, and their record is probably the scariest, not only because they've only lost 1 game, but also because I know they've played a couple of the big teams. The opening day had a couple of Team Secret matches. I want to say they've played Tinker, and they've played a couple of the other top teams. I think Alliance. So they're in pretty good shape to get things cooking.
Nothing says Cloud9 like Visage and Drow Ranger right off the bat. Like, hey, boys, how's it going? We're going to go ahead and push the hell out of your base with this dynamic duo. I just got my ass beat the other night by this. I went to a nice big 80-minute game. It's a nightmare to go against, so this is pretty standard, but it's nice. You know, typically it can be a breath of fresh air because the new meta, you know, typically we see your Voids, who's been skipped over thus far, by the way, but for Team Secret, they get a hold of the illustrious Death Prophet and a Brewmaster follow-up.
Yeah, pretty standard stuff coming out of Team Secret. I think DP is one of the more sought-after heroes right now. If left in the pool, you'll see her scooped up over the Void because she's just... How do you deal with her? You don't have to build a team around her. She's, as David Parker likes to say, the best way to deal with this hero is gank her. Gank the hell out of her. And if you have to be constantly ganking a hero to shut him down, that's usually a sign they're in a pretty good spot in terms of the meta.
A lot of teams feel like the best way to deal with her is really just have heavy burst damage. You see your EG teams picking up the likes of a Sven, someone who could just kind of slam down the R button and rip her apart. So we might look for some heavy burst coming out of Cloud9. I mean, you get the additional bonus damage from that Drow aura, which is nice, but I like this spicy pickup here. Undying. Going to be grabbed here. A lot of people feel like Undying, fantastic in the early game, reasonable in the mid game, but when you get to the late game, things get a bit finicky. I mean, in pub play, you know, you're dealing with teammates who might not even acknowledge the grave, so they have full potential, but these are pro matches, and these players know how to deal with an Undying, so a nice, interesting play. This is probably something Big Daddy's going to picked up, considering his Wisp was denied.
Yeah, smart opening ban from Cloud9, and I wonder how Secret will use this. Perhaps the makings of an aggressive tri-lane. I think that's really where Undying shines, especially in those first few levels. You're just not a guy you want to square up against. He'll be stealing your strength, and you don't even realize how much damage you're taking. The other issue with him is Tombstone is kind of easy to kill. It's somewhat tanky, but in the competitive games where that's a priority, you just focus down the Tombstone, and that neuters some of his serious potential, unless you can be really crafty, hiding it in the trees and you know, protecting it as such. Also having, you know, like Visage, for example, those familiars with some extra damage on the Tombstone certainly helps out.
Yeah, but, you know, I think it can work out reasonable in this kind of a lineup. Cloud9, obviously, they're going to be looking more objective gaming as the game progresses, getting those towers down. And when you're kind of solely focused on getting those objectives complete, you don't even acknowledge the fact that the gravestone could be there, and next thing you know, your team is like getting ripped apart. You don't see arrows coming from out of the darkness now that Moran has been grabbed. But Cloud9, they grab the Bane, you know, which is a great single target lockdown kind of a hero. You know, you can, you know, nerf out one with the sleep, and then if you get a hold of Death Prophet with that Fiend's Grip, you might be able to focus her down and rip her apart like we were expecting.
Yeah, very true. We have seen Puppy also playing a lot of Mirana recently. I feel like every game I've seen from Secret, at least the past few in Starladder, it's been all about the roaming Puppy Mirana, just landing arrows left and right, making it look easy. And that's usually been kind of their bread and butter for a successful mid to early game, at least. Cloud9 going to burn all their reserve time, though, trying to decide what they want to do, and they will settle on... Wow, the Storm Spirit. Now, this is a hero we've seen very little of recently in the context of Starladder, and also just the global meta in general. I think his win rate on this patch is pretty low. It's in either the low 40s or high 30s.
Yeah.
Not so great.
This is a funky, fresh pickup, I'd like to say, and it kind of keeps with the bluish hue theme. So I'm digging it so far. Cloud9, a blue logo as it is, so
yeah,
very fashionable. I like it already. But yeah, I mean, Storm Spirit, maybe he'll pop up as a niche pick when you got a team that's picking up something like a Tinker. You need to be able to get into the mix and chase down any sort of heroes that can, you know, be very elusive. So we'll see. It's a lot of lockdown now that they're working with, and if you need to kind of burst down a Brewmaster before he gets his ultimate off, or that Death Prophet, it can work out nicely, but we'll have to see. I mean, for the Secret team, though, not a whole lot of stun. I mean, Arrow is the only thing they really have. They have a fair amount of sustain with that Undying. You know, the silence, of course, from Death Prophet, but right now they don't really have anything that can stop a Storm Spirit from going out of control.
Yeah, I think Storm tends to shine in games where a Weaver would really shine. Just a lack of lockdown in general, and maybe Secret are looking at trying to transition this into more of a Cormorana and going for something like a Lion who has some double disables. Rasta could be a possibility, but unfortunately they've already sort of drafted themselves into a corner, because I think at least when the Marana was picked up, it was intended for Puppy, and they have not been running a lot of her in the 1 position. So Secret will take their time to consider their options here. Cloud9 will probably need their Bone 7 hero. And a couple still left in the pool. Bat Rider, in particular, is the one that really stands out, that I'm almost surprised he hasn't been picked up by Cloud9 already.
Tidehunter's also in the pool. And I think both teams pretty much need their offlaner. You got your Tidehunter still in there. Some people like to go with maybe something like a Bristleback if you're trying to eliminate the heavy pushing Prowless. Someone who can really be the tank for the team, the meat on the bones. There's your Clockwork, going to be denied if you needed some strong initiation. Would not have fit with the bluish hue, so, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
This is important to me. This is important. The
broken
color,
chroma suit, yeah.
The color, it's like a jersey, all right? You know, it's like you're trying to rep a fashion statement here. You're synergized together. You got good team chemistry, so I think that's very important. But, yeah, for both teams, they need the offlaner, and I'm still just surprised that, you know, Tidehunter's being skipped over.
Well, Secret could do something interesting here. They have a couple of options. One is to offlane the Brew. On the Radiant side, it's not great, but it's doable. We've seen a few teams get away with it, and
it could be the Undying.
Yeah, and you could try to offlane the Undying, or they could go aggro try, as we sort of talked about earlier on, and put Brew in a solo safe lane role where he would do reasonably well, depending on what Cloud9 opt for. I think Bat Rider is the obvious choice for Cloud9 with their last pick. It will break your color, your fashion statement, but a hero that Bone 7's been pretty successful with in past days. But what does Secret do here? This is the big surprise, and they don't have much time to think about it.
Cloud9 are wagering that it is probably going to be an Undying offlane. They get rid of that Shadow Demon, and given they've already picked up the Bane for themselves, this doesn't lead a lot of, you know, peanut butter and jelly combos with Marana. Typically like the sleep, you like the disruption followed up with the arrow. But look at this son of a bitch right here. We got the Gyrocopter as the final pick. This mustache guy right here. And you know what? Still, I mean, right off the bat, I'm looking like this is going to be a core. You know, a lot of people typically don't play a lot of Gyrocopter, but that's when you're going against some of these recent flavors, like your Voids. There's nothing a Gyrocopter could do against something like a Void, but we don't have a Void here. We don't have any crazy amount of disable, and Gyrocopter is a BKB holder, so once he does manage to farm that up, this could render a lot of the Cloud9 heroes useless, except, you know, the Bane ultimate there, but Storm Spirit, he won't have a whole lot to offer as far as shutting down the Gyro, but they fire right back. They grab a hold of the Weaver.
Yeah, so that'll be their offlane hero, and as I mentioned earlier, games where Storm Spirit does well tend to be games where Weaver will do well, and Cloud9 say, hey, you don't grab a hard stun with your last pick, we're going to run you guys down. And I think this is smart drafting in general from Cloud9, and as long as Secret unless Secret like really dominate the laning phase, Cloud9 should have a pretty good time in this mid game with these really mobile heroes, given the lack of lockdown. A lot riding on these puppy arrows this game, I think. Will be a core Gyrocopter, and this is a pretty scary tri-lane. Rocket Barrage mixed with all of Undying's damage and then Marana's arrows. I could see some early kills being very likely from this Secret tri-lane.
And as far as late game goes, the Weaver only benefits a lot more from this Drow. So if Cloud9 does get to the later portions of this game, the damage is going to get absurd. You lose one team fight, and next thing you know, you lost a whole set of racks in your base. So Cloud9, something we saw frequently throughout TI4, and even before that, just a nice niche strat that they have, and they're going to look to develop on that and just really barricade through all these objectives.
Yeah, I feel like it's evolved from a niche strat to almost a core strat now. We've been seeing this so much recently, and now other teams really adopting it, and even in other regions we've seen it pop out a time or two. Does look like Secret will be interested in an aggro tri-lane. Could just be a jungle invade, but They will send all 5 up top. It'll be Kuroki taking point on the gyrocopter, Puppy on his now becoming signature Mirana, Big Daddy holding the Undying. It will be S4 probably headed mid on the Brewmaster, and that puts Fly on the Death Prophet. I would want to guess in the solo safe lane, but looking at his items, seems more likely he'll be headed to the mid, and S4 will play in the safe lane. So they're still one of these teams that they switch up their roles quite a bit depending on what heroes they have.
A lot of teams with their new rosters, they're still kind of flexing a bit. They're trying to see what is going to be the proper lineup for their team. But on the side of the Dire, we got none other than Cloud9 starting way up at the top lane. You got Bone7 actually representing the Weaver. That is something I haven't seen too often. But shortly coming up from the south, we got Pylai. He's playing your Bane in the mid lane. We got Eternal Envy, of course, in the mid lane on the Drow Ranger. Along the bottom, none other than Aoi, 2000 on one of his most signature heroes, the Visage. And finally, Fata is going to be playing your Storm Spirit.
Yeah, the last match we saw earlier today at the Cloud9 versus Fnatic, Aoi actually opted for the Rod of Atos over the Aghanim Scepter as his first kind of core item following the Medallion, which is a little different. With the Drow Ranger aura, you kind of want to rush that Ags, get that next bird out on the field, and really feel the benefits of the aura. So even Aoi in this signature hero that we've seen him play so many times, still switching it up a little bit and being kind of reactionary here. It will be Eternal Envy to go mid on the Drow. That'll put Fata in the off lane on the Storm Spirit, supported by Aoi. And then Pi will head up top to support Bone7. So lane's kind of calling an audible here at the line of scrimmage, if you will.
Definitely unorthodox. They're going to go with the 2-1-2. You already see Puppy in your classic Mirana. There goes the arrow. Are we going to get a first arrow? Nope, it's going to whiff right behind on Eternal Envy, and now he's going to be sweating a bit, curious where Puppy's going to be. You got to constantly dodge around these arrows, step back. Maybe you're not as committed to getting the farm, and you know it's going to keep him guessing. So this is just what you come to expect out of a support Mirana, though.
Yeah. Now the 2-1-2 will really benefit Cloud9 in this bottom lane. This will make things difficult for S4 and should secure some decent farm for Fata, which is absolutely what the Storm Spirit needs. Up top, this will kind of be an interesting 2-on-2. The Bane Weaver versus Undying Gyrocopter. Kuro's getting some okay farm, pretty deny heavy out of the gate, but Big Daddy doing what Undying needs to in these early levels and just being annoying. They've already got down a Sentry Ward. Homing Missile leveled up, and this is a little bit scary for Bone7. This Homing Missile could yield a first blood. Will they be able to click it down fast enough? It looks like they will, but whew, close call.
Homing Missile is such a fun little ability. I love to roll Gyrocopter as a support, and it's also getting a buff in the next patch. It's going to be doing up to 500 damage at max level, and when you get it leveled up, it takes a lot of hits to take down, and you can constantly spam it out and zone people out of their lane. Bottom lane, by the way, Puppy shot out another arrow right beside S4. It's not going to catch on anyone, and still we kind of continue throwing out shots all over the place of this map, but nothing connecting quite yet.
Yeah, so far rather unlucky as Puppy is Mirana without a home, chewing through clarities and just cruising around. And this is a strategy Secret have used a lot, but it is a bit of a gamble. If you connect with the arrows, you can set up some really great kills and get your lanes a lot of momentum early on. But if you can't find any of those arrow connections, then this is just a Mirana that will very quickly become underfarmed. Arrow flies through, and this time it'll hit Fata. Does S4 have the damage to actually bring him down? It's a long-range stun. Thunderclap is there, and this should be your first blood. S4 draws it out, gets the bonus gold, and finally, Puppy finds the arrow he's looking for.
Yep, and just finally catches it, gets it underway, and unfortunately for Aoi as a Visage, you can't really offer a whole lot except a bit of a slow, but a slow isn't going to really stop them from getting in there and getting the job done. He doesn't have a disable, any sort of heal to really help out, and that's just, you know, one of the downsides to Visage in the early game, but, you know, it's Aoi. He's a smart player. But meanwhile, top lane, Big Daddy throwing out the early decay, bringing down Pylai to quickly half life here, so Team Secret, man, early game, they're going pretty aggressive.
Yeah, absolutely, and they've already put a lot of pressure onto Bone7. There's been a couple of close calls here where he's known his limits, using the Shikuchi to much avail at this value point so far, as he's still pretty low level, but this is a duo lane that is ready to pressure the Scarab. And Bone7 walks right into the Sentry. He'll take a lot of damage this time, and this could be the end of him. There you go. Kuroki just brings him down, and Bone7, I guess, not quite aware of that Sentry placement as he really manned up and thought he was safe under the veil of the Shikuchi and Viz.
So Team Secret, man, this is the game plan they want. They want to be able to assert themselves early in the game because it's very apparent Cloud9, they're relying on being able to evolve into a big, strong, dominating force later down the road. But if Secret can get a lot of kills early on, their Death Prophet gets a lot of farm, they can start taking objectives, taking towers quickly, and next thing you know, Cloud9 are going to be corralled into a corner. But they're actually making a move meanwhile. Top lane, Kuroki is going to be slept up. The Bane just going to get off a little bit of harassment, but not going to be able to commit for anything as far as kills.
Yeah, it's interesting to see.
Oh, he's actually trading. Brain snap, Kuroki. Oh, man, I kind of underestimated. He loses the salve as well. Pylai Die is like, hey, you don't want to mess with me. I got some spells under my belt.
Yeah, salve actually what's keeping him alive there. He'll get salved up once more, and still seeing this homing missile build is so interesting. It's not so common on gyrocopters, not so common these days, and homing missile build on top of that even less so. But against the Weaver, it makes a lot of sense. We see Bone 7 die to a neutral, and I want to say that that was on purpose. Yeah, it looks like he spent all of his gold there before he went down. So not too shabby, but yeah, homing
lane. We got Owie creeping in from behind on Fly. There's your Grave Chill. Here comes the Frost Arrows. They're going to slow him down. Can Fly get away from this one? He might not be able to. Oh, he's turning it back. The Exorcism rips apart both, and he gets a double kill. Oh, man, that fell apart. That did not go the way they wanted. Slows are not going to be enough to quickly take down Fly with he has Exorcism available, and now conveniently he's just going to segue that ultimate into some heavy damage on this tier 1 tower.
Yeah, a great call. It looked like one of those, almost a panic Exorcism where, oh, Fly, you don't want to waste that ultimate, but he knew his limits, knew his burst damage, and Eternal Envy just underestimating what Fly be able to do there all by his lonesome. So now 5-0 in the first 5 minutes. Team Secret pulling some serious momentum. 3,000 gold, 2,000 experience already in their favor. Tombstone from behind the tower. Bone 7 will get hit by the missile, and this is a problem. That's a dead Weaver. They put a sentry down in tower range and yields a kill. Now Pylai Die on the run. Can they find another one here? The gyrocopter is low on mana and won't be able to find it. Instead, down bottom, they'll dive the tower, and S4, he'll finish off Storm Spirit and Visage. Whoa, a little late to the party on that one, folks, but wow, things just falling apart for Cloud9 across the board.
I mean, I guess you could say it's no secret that Team Secret is getting everything they want. I mean, they're doing a bit unorthodox kind of styles here, lineups, the homing missile. You know, we don't see Undying every day. He's creeping in from the top lane, coming in from behind. Weaver is constantly pressured by that missile. You know, he's not being able to focus on getting the CS. He has to kind of double back pretty often here. You know, Puppy's keeping him guessing with these arrows, and it's just overall very uncomfortable for Cloud9, and they don't like it. It's going to be on them now to shake it off, but a strong lead right now for Secret, 8-0.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Homing missile comes in. Bone 7 trying to do what he can to bring it down, but it's just too damn tanky. Only 2 points in that Shikuchi. He's got it on a decent cooldown and can't always afford to be able to outrun it, and oh man, it's just working so well. Eternal Envy struggling in the mid lane. Looking at just raw last hits, Death Prophet 38 compared to EE's 24. It's obviously a huge lane in favor of Fly, plus those 2 kills he picked up. We'll just use the Exorcism once more. Arrow flies through the mid, does not connect on Owie. The glyph comes out, and Fly will just stand his ground. Meanwhile, up top, they'll dive Bone 7 once more. Shikuchi up in just a second. The homing missile will chase him into oblivion here, and the tower might be able to bring it down, and they'll be able to bring down Bone 7 here, it looks like. It's a long stun. Down he goes. Tier 1 tower in the mid lane falls, and meanwhile, so does Puppy. Still a great trade for Secret around the map. Fly with an invisibility rune on, just chasing down Pylai Die, and if he can get in range for a Crypt Swarm, that'll yield a kill, but no, we'll get juked.
Yep, so I mean, you know, Fly in the mid lane, pulls out the Exorcism. Puppy trying to zone back Owie from getting close enough to go for any sort of die. Meanwhile, Owie, speaking of which, getting big damage here. One more Crypt Swarm if he can get it off. Should be able to get the kill. Long range, not going to catch on the back end, and he will be able to live to tail. Meanwhile, nearby in the jungle, Puppy's actually going to run to Envy here. Looking to tift a little bit. A few auto attacks, no commitment. There's your Gust. Here comes a few arrows. Storm Spirit. Fata with the level 6 jumps in Ball Lightning, runs right into Fly as well. They actually pull the Vortex on the Death Prophet. Fly not going to be able to get away from this one, and another kill going to be picked up here for Cloud9. Slow momentum coming in their favor for, you know, but Team Secret still getting the objectives they want. Get that mid lane tower. They lose their support, they lose their Death Prophet there, but overall, still holding relatively strong. Arrow top lane, not going to quite catch there on Bone 7 as he swiftly Sakuchi's forward.
Yeah, still things looking a bit rough, to say the least. Down bottom, S4 has picked up his Arcane Boots. 8 minutes in, he's 100 gold away from a Blink Dagger. So
he is getting everything he wants in this bottom lane. All the free space and elbow room to work with and get that farm, and next thing you know, he has the Blink Dagger, and now he's going to look for a fight here. He already ditches this bottom lane. It looks like he might make something happen. Nope.
Bone 7 dies again in the top lane. This homing missile is just... This is the counter to Weaver right here. He's getting completely shut down. They put down another sentry for good measure, and now Team Secret will just group up and look to knock down another tower. They've got an Exorcism at the ready, maxed out Witchcraft, so why the hell not? In the mid lane, Owie 2000 and Pylai Die will chip away at this Tier 1, but pretty obvious that Secret have the pushing advantages. Well, Secret will just rotate mid and look for some kills if Puppy can hit an arrow.
top lane, Exorcism going to be popped. They're going to commit on this tower. No reinforcements coming in just yet, and yeah, they're going to be able to get this with ease. But yeah, like you said, it's all about that homing missile, and he invests all 4 levels into it. So you're talking about 5 hits to even take down the missile. But if it lands, it is big, big damage. 440 damage. That's like an early finger in the game just coming at your face. So look at this. They're all actually committing to this top lane. They might go for a second tower. Enjoy it while it lasts. Next patch, it's not going to be so easy to get 2 towers back to back like this.
Yeah, very true. Bone 7, now level 6, at least has time lapse. So that's a tool that he can use to work with here and perhaps ensure his survival. But DP, no points in silence. Once she picks that up, it may make things a little easier for Secret to counteract that ultimate. Cloud9 move into an Ancient stack. It is just a double stack here, but Aoi 2000 and Eternal Envy will share the farm and try to find some recovery. Eternal Envy has gone double Wraithband to go with his power tread, so tanking up, trying to grab some just early game items to give them a little bit of an edge so they can claw their way back into this. But a long way to go, as it's already 7,500 gold, almost 4,000 experience in favor of Secret.
Yep, and we do have the brief disconnect from Aoi as he swiftly makes his return, and we should be able to get back and underway. So we'll see what kind of commitment Team Secret's going to have in this top lane. Obviously, with the Exorcism already used, they won't have the benefit of using it if they want to go for this tier 2, and it looks like they will decide to withdraw from the top lane and just kind of try to continue to keep Cloud9 guessing here. Meanwhile, jumping forward, they're trying to get someone on the way out. It might be Kuroki here, ball lightning forward. They get the Vortex back, and they should be able to burst him down with these, but he swiftly gets off the ultimate, trying to take someone with him, but he can't do it. Homing missile, reasonable amount of damage, but not going to be enough to take down the Pylai support.
Yeah, I thought they might be able to rotate up and set up for an arrow so Puppey could connect and follow up there, but unfortunately they were already mounting the retreat, and they will lose their gyrocopter still. Going to take a little more than that for Cloud9 to find a full recovery. Puppey connects with an arrow onto Fada. The follow-up is here. The cavalry has arrived, and now we're going to have another pause as it looks like Fly is having some Dota issues, but a defensive nightmare has come out onto Fada. He does have some mana for a ball lightning, and there is a silence available onto the Death Prophet, so they should be able to silence him and lock him down, and will probably be the end of Fada following this resume.
I can already feel the puppies being spammed in the chat as we speak, because conveniently it is on Puppey's team, but just a legitimate disconnect, obviously, or crash rather, from Fly right here, but it is going to get hot and heavy real quick as soon as this pause comes out. It looks like the defensive sleep there, trying to aid his ally, but with 3 bullies right here, all surrounding the Storm Spirit. I don't know how he'll be able to ball lightning out of this one. We'll have to see, and well, there's your reconnect. We might see it happen unfold right before our eyes in any second.
Even the Flesh Golem's already been deployed, and I always think it's funny how silly the portrait looks when he goes into Flesh Golem mode. It's such an angry looking
He's not the most
zombie.
attractive, but that boy can lift. That's for sure.
Yeah,
going in, nice silence timing, and yeah, I didn't even consider the silence as
easy.
I guess the gravestone or tombstone taunt is going to be popped out as well, and well, he falls, and now they're going to segregate themselves over to the mid lane and just kind of make a push happen.
Yeah. S4 has a primal split at the ready. Arrow flies through, fishing for the Bane. Obviously won't find him here, but S4 with a lot of potential aggression that he can bring onto the field. They will leave Bone 7 some time to farm and get his wits about him, but they've already picked on him so much. 0, 5, and 0. They can afford to move around the other lanes and pressure some of the other farmers for Cloud9. Right now, it's all about Eternal Envy and Fada. Those are the only 2 that are farming okay. Not even great, just okay. Aoi and EE will move into the Roche Pit. Medallion is picked up on the Visage, so they can actually do this. Eternal Envy with 4 points in the Frost Arrows can kind of kite the Roshan around, and looks like this will end up being a free Aegis. So I like this play from Cloud9, and steps in the right direction to regain some momentum.
Secret aren't really aware. They see plenty of others in the lanes. The Weaver looking to farm it out, even harassing out Puppey right here. So, you know, it comes as a surprise that the Roche is going to be swiftly taken down. It doesn't take a whole lot, especially when you have the benefit of that drought and, like you said, the Medallion. Meanwhile, though, moving up to the top lane. He's committing real hard for here. Nice arrow actually connects, and under the tower, he's eating big damage. Going to be forced to pull out that time lapse and step all the way back. So Puppey dodges a bullet there, and
Space Creation, bottom lane, they get the tier 1 tower, and now the tier 2 is destined to fall. There's no glyph available for another few seconds. The Exorcism will be more than enough. Pylai Die takes a Thundercrap, Primal Split comes out, and that'll be the end of Pylai Die as we know him. Bane will try to life sap. He'll do everything he can, but the spirits will be here, and there's the boulder toss to the face. He'll go down. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Undying is fallen, but they find a kill on the Dro Ranger. And Visage Familiars behind the tower. They ping him out. They want some of this yummy bird gold. Will they be able to find the bonus purse? Nope, doesn't look like it.
I just want to step back. I believe you said thunder crap, and I'm sorry I had a chuckle about that
did I
one.
say
I don't
crap?
mean to call you out, but I think it has a thunder crap,
biscuits.
and it made me laugh. So sorry, we should be able to be comfortable.
Innuendo. He took
It's all right. I
a
think I said-
proverbial crap on top of the Bane.
It's okay. I think I
Worked
said
out.
segregate to the mid lane, and that didn't work whatsoever either. So we're good stuff.
It's all good. It's all good.
13-4 though. Team Secret coming well in ahead here. Don't want to allow Cloud9 to get to that pinnacle point in the late game where Drow could really become a problem, and especially hand in hand with those familiars. So for now, they're holding pretty strong right here. Big Daddy, man, he has been supporting out of his mind on this Undying, something we don't get to see a whole lot of. He looks like he's going to move on forward, get a hold of that mechanism. There's your Yules, one of those favorable items on your Death Private, now going to be complete. This allows easy Yules into a silence. The extra move speed is just oh so nice. So very favorable pickup now complete here, and it's just all coming up roses right now for Team Secret.
Yep, meep, I'm a race car, says the Death Prophet, who's now found level 11 and cruising around near max movement speed when those phase boots are deployed. Always good stuff to see on that hero. That's part of what makes her so strong right now. Sure, she can be pretty tanky with items and when she starts to snowball, but that movement speed, even if you start to isolate her, she can just cruise away. Bottom lane, Puppy will be the lone defender for this tier 1 tower.
Mid, they're
but
bursting out Envy. They got him. They bulldog forward right past the tower with the exorcism, and Envy's like, oh, what the hell am I doing? It gets caught out now. There's that Yule's going to work right now. Silence time perfectly after. They want blood, and they get it. They take down Owie shortly after. That's a 2 takedown on 2 very crucial heroes that I was just talking about, and this is going to allow them to step back and go right for this tier 2, man. Secret getting it done. Meanwhile, bottom lane, they want Puppy. They jump on forward. They got the ball lightning, the Vortex. Quick, desperate leap. Not getting away from that leap as it is Fata to jump forward and take him down. Still, favorable trade for Team Secret, if I say so myself.
Certainly so. S4 was hiding in the tree line, thinking about trying to help Puppy, but didn't want to reveal his positioning until more support arrived. Weaver will get the last hit on the tower, but it will cost them their tier 2 in the mid lane. Now they'll go in onto Bone 7. His time lapse is on cooldown, and the Thunder Clap will be there this time. Big Daddy's there with a negative earn charge. S4 will have about 5 seconds or so till he can use his blink, but it looks like Bone 7 will make it back to safety.
I feel like if he really wanted that kill, he could have used his ultimate, but maybe they wagered they could have been able to get the Weaver without it. They knew he did not have the time lapse available, but overall,
and without a sentry, didn't want to waste the ultimate in case they couldn't find the kill.
I really haven't seen a whole lot of Primal Split work as of this game. S4, I feel, has been relatively quiet, at least in comparison to what you normally see out of your Brewmasters. Yeah, he's been getting a lot done in the bottom lane, helping out, getting a few kills here and there, pushing forward on the towers, but we're not seeing a whole lot of the bare necessities, I guess you could say.
Yeah, Eternal Envy is finding decent farm, though. He's level 11, so tied with the leading experienced farmers on Secret, and his farm is not that bad. 5.4k on net worth. It's not that his is so bad as much as his teammates are having trouble finding places to farm right now. He's gone for the Yasha, so going for these agility items to really try and buff up that precision aura as much as he can. He's also found his level 11, so of course marksmanship really kicking in and helping him to accelerate his farm. You mentioned in the draft Gyrocopter being a BKB carrier, and he'll go right into it. Phase Boots, Drum Aquila, and just a recipe away from Magic Immunity.
This allows Kuroki to really just kind of go to town with whatever he likes, and it's going to leave Fata rather useless here as far as what he can really contribute. And look at this. They're sneaking on through the secret shop here, seeing if they can catch anyone out of bounds, but they're not going to see anyone by this Tier 2 area, and they're going to keep shifting on through. The Bloodhounds are out. They're on the hunt. They're going to go into enemy territory and see if they can catch anyone, or maybe just make the long rotation all the way up here to the top lane and try to take down a few more C9 members. But overall, man, Secret is getting everything they want done. Meanwhile, split push Pylai Die, I guess, in the bottom lane is Bane. Just trying to get something done on his own right.
Yeah, Bane and his familiars just hanging out down here. Big Daddy will come to the rescue, throws down the tombstone, and we'll keep the tower safe. Now at the top tier 1, Bone 7 secures the tower kill. The Drunken Haze comes out, takes a clap, a crit to the face. Will time-lapse back, but right into the Yules, and they get off the silence, but just not in the time to stop the Shikuchi. He will just move into the side, TP's out. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Undying got picked off as Fata flew through.
Still no Primal Split. Primal Split, throw the rock at the guy, for God's sakes. This is one to use it. He's really reserving it. He wants to nurse the hell. There it is, though. Pulls it out right now. The 3 bears run through the woods. They want to get a hold of Fata, who quickly jumps away here. No more man to work with. And finally, we're going to see these bears really go to work. They go ahead throwing him up in the air right now. I imagine a rock could potentially follow shortly after.
Where's the boulder? Where's the boulder?
They're not going to go. Look, when walk forward. There's the boulder. Long ball. Does not catch. He gets the swift disjoint, which is expected. Fata with a quick trigger finger will avoid that one. Meanwhile, nearby in the jungle, you can see Pylai Die under the gun right now. As Death Prophet looks to chase on forward. Gets slept. Can Pylai Die weasel his way out of this kill. He's trying to go away. No tower to hide behind here. Maybe a swift TP in the corner, but no, TP's on cooldown.
Oh, no.
Hi, how's it going right here? Can he get a sleep off anything? No more mana. Pylai dies. Someone call his mother because he's going to be laid down. He's really making him sweat for this one, though, and he finally does go down.
Yeah, finally find the kill they're looking for, but Cloud9 kind of stagnating the momentum. If you look at the graph, it's kind of slowly moving into their favor / holding steady, so they are getting some decent exchanges as they've knocked down 2 Tier 1 towers now and have found a couple of collateral kills. As Secret have kind of been moving around all by their lonesomes. Bone 7 once more will get initiated on here in the mid lane, has a time lapse, will keep him in the same position as he scoots back to safety, this time at full health. They have not yet picked up a gem, and I feel like that's when the Weaver's life will really get difficult.
Ooh, convenient regen rune now picked up on one of the heroes that loves it the most right now. Fata grabs and sets back to his jungle, but meanwhile top lane, we're seeing a bit of that early side pushing coming out. The Visage Birds laying it into this tier 2, but there's your Moonlight Shot going to be called out. They're not going to use it aggressively here, just instead go for the defense and stop this push from coming in here. But I really feel like, you know, the window of opportunity for Cloud9 is still there. They still have a way to come back in this one. We've seen it done before. You get Eternal Envy, a plenty of farm, and next thing you know, he's ripping through your base. You got the familiars. Owies knows what he's doing with those birds, and we'll just quickly take down towers. So pressure is still on the Secret team here to try to get this game closed out before it gets to that point. So for now, smoked up. Checking out the jungle, there is a nearby Bone 7, but they don't scout him out just yet. Yeah,
looking for their options here. Sentry comes down on the high ground. Arrow flies through, does hit Bone 7, and this should yield a kill. In comes S4 with the thunderclap, the crit. Even the taunt tombstone, as you put it, comes down, and they find another kill onto the Weaver. And now they'll scout out Owie 2000. He's on the run, and he will make it back to safety. Blink Dagger on Eternal Envy, though, is his next item after the Yasha.
Times are a rough for this Weaver. 0 and 6 right now. I don't mean to call the guy out, but this is probably not what they were hoping out of their Weaver. Like you,
safe lane Weaver at that.
Yeah, safe lane Weaver who's been eating homing missiles for breakfast. So it's just really hard times for him trying to find the opportunity to farm up, because right now your farm priority is pretty much going into the pocket of Eternal Envy right now. But jump forward. Fata looking to make a go on fly right here, but knows he cannot commit. His backup is just nearby, so he quickly jumps right out here, and doesn't have the safety of that regen rune. Has to be careful. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, S4 gets a swift takedown, ripping apart Envy, but still, they're making a move here for Fata. There's your Ools, there's your Crypt Swarm, but they're not going to make a go. Faking out with the arrow. 1, a 2. Oh, he's not going to throw it just yet.
Ground. Instead, they'll go right onto Pylai Die. Silence has been used. They'll even deploy the Exorcism for this. This Bane is certain to fall. And yeah, Simba grabs an
illusion. He fell so quick.
Yeah.
They step back, and well, Roche, it's going to be up in about 10 seconds, 5 seconds. Oh, they'll hope they don't step out and it pops up here. Oh, that would be unfortunate.
Yeah. Well, there's only one outer tower remaining in the top lane. Homing missile coming its way into Owie. The familiars are there. They don't do any damage to the homing missile. Oh, wow, I never knew that. But they don't count. They're just but undead birds. Instead, flat cannon. That does work. And that's a nice 200 gold bounty going the way of the gyrocopter. Owie takes the rod of Owie to the face. The silence flies through. The tombstone, the arrow. The arrow will miss, and Owie will survive. Now the fight will start to break out as Fata hops forward. Only so much he can do. The silence on Envy connects on 2. And, well, Cloud9 will be okay for now, but sort of an odd position from Secret. They're stuck between the Tier 2 and the Tier 3. They'll just back up and finish off the tower. Fishing arrow from Puppy once more will be off the mark, but the tombstone, 150 gold, a pretty penny, going the way of Cloud9.
Yeah, they're zoning back Cloud9, but they don't really have quite enough ammunition to really take down the Tier 2, so they're forced instead to step back, really banking on trying to take down the Visage there, but it didn't work out. But here we go. They're back at it again. Arrow going to fly, but not going to be there. Fata swiftly jumps away. It probably wouldn't have caught regardless, but definitely playing it safe. And now they're back for more right now. We got 30 more seconds, though, till the Exorcism is up and available. Brewmaster, 10 more seconds. He's going to have his Primal Split available, but there's your smoke, man. They've been blazing it up all game with really being aggressive, trying to keep Cloud9 guessing, moving all around the map right here, not allowing any of their cores to find a safe place to farm.
Unfortunately, this one was scouted out by Cloud9. They smoked right in vision of that ward, so they know they smoked up, and that's why Cloud9 sort of scattered the moment it came out, and they will remain safe there. Looks like they're thinking about Roche. They scattered out with the arrow, so they know he's respawned, and we've got another DC. Big Daddy. Kroki is still sitting on his 10-second BKB. Also, so Secret they're really in fighting form right now once this Exorcism comes up. Hopefully this DC is not the beginning middle part of a trend here, as we've already had a few.
It's okay. It happens sometimes. But, you know, it looked pretty apparent, you know, if they weren't going to be caught out, that Secret were going to cloud themselves over into that Roche pit and swiftly take it in their own favor. But, you know, being scouted out and conveniently the Weaver being right there to see what's happening, they'll have to pull back instead. And right now they're kind of on two ends of Bone 7 right here. If they can get a hold of them, they might be able to make a move. They're actually pinging him out as we speak. So Bone 7, a man who has been having many a death this game, might have to play a little careful here as the unpause will go. There's your Swarm. Thinking about committing here on Kuroki, but that might not be the best idea as there is a nearby S4, and he will pull back.
Ooh, Puppey on the other side of it, though. He'll get brought down by Eternal Envy. Visage Familiar is nearby to help him out. The Birds, though, they may not get out of this one. Pardon me, Aoi may be thinking about a resummon here
They're gonna get
as they come right back up. One of them goes down, and some creeps come in. So
the flat cannon on these birds
pick me up, yeah.
is so nice.
Yeah, that's just a nice little counter there, I guess. Extra gold going the way of Kuroki. But now they use the Exorcism right into the Roche pit, and they'll be able to get this pretty easily. Who's going to take the Aegis? Looks like Fly is gearing up for it with that open inventory slot. TP on the ground. And, yeah, Death Prophet will scoot in and grab the second life.
Nice convenient with the Exorcism. Roshan will melt like butter. Gets it done very easy. And Cloud9 continue to try to add pressure on these side lanes. Puppey throws out an arrow here in the top lane. It will not catch on Bone 7, but he will pull back. S4, though, looking to make something happen. Jump forward, and, well, this does a little bit of damage. And it looks like he will be going in for an AC here with that Hyperstone already picked up on the Brew. Yeah,
and he already has the Vladimir's offering, so just moving into this Aura-based Brew. I love this build, and should work pretty well. Speaking of big item pickups, Storm Spirit now has his Orchid, and this is always a big item on this hero. Usually you want to have it a little earlier than this, though. 23 minutes in, this is the time when the Orchid starts to fall off a little bit, and you really want to be working towards your BKB or your next core item. Still does give him some kill potential, though, as down bottom, Envy thinking about pressure in the tower. Some TPs come out, and he'll use that Blink Dagger to much avail.
Yeah, he's going to use it to get better positioning, just try to split push on the sides and blink away from any sort of incoming danger. So kind of like your same style of what your Nature's Prophet likes to do, but he's making it done with that Drow Ranger. Meanwhile, in the nearby woods, you can see Fata getting caught out. There's your Fiend's Grip on the S4, but it's not going to last long enough as Yules comes in and does shut it down. Fata trying to retreat is still silenced up, but they can't quite commit it on just yet. Very low S4 here, not pulling out the Primal Split just yet, and Pylite Eye getting attacked by Fly right here. There's your jump in, Thunderclap, and there we go. Boulder going to fly out, the Primal Split going to be triggered, and Pylite Eye will go down to the hands of Fly, who moves on to a killing spree.
Arrow hits Bone 7 off to the side. The Pandas are trying to play catch-up here. Sentry comes down. The Silence to follow up. Nowhere for Bone 7 to go. Even the Tombstone will assist in bringing him down. Fata on the high ground above with the Orchid, looking for a pick-off perhaps, but won't be able to find it.
Yeah, but look what's happening in the bottom lane. The dynamic duo of pushers, Visage and Drow, trying to take it to the tier 2, trying to just get anything they can out of this trade. And they will
just look towards the high ground.
Yep.
They've got an Exorcism here.
Oh, yeah.
This is scary. Dire don't have a glyph. They've got 2 in the grave. Weaver does have a buyback,
wow. But that tower's done.
Yeah, this is going to be a mid lane of Rax. It looks like Cloud9 will continue to press forward in the bottom lane. Aoi will stick around a little bit longer than the Dro. Arrow flies through. Fata comes flying in, just trying to buy time, but he'll lose all of his mana. He gets silenced. He gets chopped down. This is starting to look grim for Cloud9. Mid lane of Rax will get cleaned up. Homing Missile will fly through onto Pylite Die. That will zone him out. Nice use of the Nightmare to stop it from stunning him. And Bone 7 presses out of the base, but this is just not the trade that Cloud9 wanted. It looked like such a smart play taking out that bottom tier 2 tower, but sets up for a push in the mid. Oh no, now Envy caught inside of the Yules. He'll have a fresh BKB and he'll have to use it just to stay alive. That's your 10-second BKB charged and not used for much, but to be fair, Gyrocopter in the same story. He BKBs to make the escape. Big Daddy will make it home as well.
So a mid set of racks, tier 3, a couple of pickoffs, or at least one big pickoff on that Storm Spirit, and things are looking easy breezy right now for Secret. I mean, I was talking about how maybe if Cloud9 were able to come out in some of these fights, they would be able to rip apart a base quickly, but Death Prophet's the queen of doing that, and we see it right there, Exhibit A, as they quickly take out the mid lane set of racks, and now Cloud9 are going to be dealing with an excessive amount of pressure in this mid lane, but I still believe Cloud9, they're in this one. I've seen them down 2 set of racks before with this kind of strategy and still be able to come back, so I don't think they're shaking in their boots quite yet. They should be able to adverse, come back, rally together, and hopefully get something going.
They might be shaken, but they're not down yet. And, well, maybe down, but not out, perhaps, is the proper saying there. They do have some big core items. The BKB on Dro is probably the biggest. Bone 7 looking towards a Black King bar, probably. I suppose he could be pulling up for a Desolator, saying, well, I've been dying so much anyway, at least maybe I can do some damage now. Hard to say. I feel like he would have bought that Ogre Club by now if he was going straight for the BKB, but may just buy it in one fell swoop to keep his enemies guessing, as the Mithril Hammer is a little bit ambiguous. But that full Assault Cuirass is on the way for S4, and now a complete Monkey King bar on the Kuroki Gyrocopter.
We're going to see why Gyrocopter could be one of the scariest late gamers in the game. We don't see it a whole lot as of recent, just because of the recent meta and how these heroes can really shut down Gyro, but now we get to see him shine once more. MKB is a scary item in his hands. You put that together with the flat cannon, and you're ripping apart a whole team before you even know what's happening to you. Or whether it's taking out creep waves, taking out familiars, it's absurd.
It hurts, man. It's scary stuff. Undying going for a Vitality booster here. Could just be some casual HP. Could be looking for a Rod of Atos of his own. They've already got one, but well, I guess the second one would treat them pretty nice. Now Simba picks up his Shiva's Guard as well. So that really helps tank him up, pushes him to 20 armor, and he's like one creep away from level 16. So there you go, Exorcism.
And conveniently gets to use it.
Oh, boy. This is rough.
Cloud9.
Where are they? They're not in a position to defend. They've got 3 heroes outside of the base. Pylai, Die, and Envy are just
Weaver has no
TP.
He has no life.
Oh, my gosh. Are you serious? Oh, no. He will go for the Desolator, so just going for raw damage, but they've already lost their Tier 3 tower. Glyph's been used, and now Fada comes zipping in. Kuroki will just use his BKB, turns and drops Fada in a matter of seconds. Envy stands his ground, but not for long. Down he goes. Pylai Dial getting melted to boot, and this could be the end of Cloud9 just off this one push. Death Prophet gets off the Yules, will get healed up. Now the Brew presses forward, and GG!
Well,
whoa!
Well, you know what? Secret threw together a fantastic draft. They recognized that with Cloud9's Drow Visage kind of a lineup, it left the opportunity for a Gyrocopter to sneak in there. And you had just such nice little counter synergy right there. You got your, even just something as simple as the flat cannon to rip apart those Visage birds. It was very nice stuff, and pretty much from top to bottom, it was all Team Secret.
Yeah, 28-7, obviously a fairly one-sided game, but it seems like Cloud9 just weren't ready for that last push. They were simply caught unaware and underestimating the flash pushing power of a level 16 Death Prophet. I think suffice it to say, the biggest problem that game was the safe lane Weaver. Homing Missile just wrecked him. I can't think of any other way to put it. I mean, it just completely countered anything that Weaver tried to do.
It's not something you typically go against in these pro games a whole lot, is someone maxing homing missile, but you can really see the utility with it right there. And
yeah,
I mean, it's rough. You have to take it down. If you're taking it down, you're not doing your CS. If you ignore it, you're going to get stunned for a long time and eat a lot of damage, and they'll just pounce on you, and that's what we saw.
Absolutely. So that will probably be the end of Cloud9's chances making it into the top 4 and their chances at Kiev. Like I said, depending on how the next week goes, there's a very small chance. There's like a huge, long tiebreak with 6 losses, but looking pretty slim. So Team Secret, on the other hand, they're in great shape. They still only have 1 loss.
Yeah, and that puts them up to what, 8-1?
Yep,
they're looking pretty good.
They're in good shape. But we'll have a break here, guys, and then starting in just about half an hour, we'll have Starladder America resuming. We've got the loser bracket best of 3 finals between the Sneaky Nyx Assassins and Navi US. So it should be a good one. I'm Zyori. This guy's Coddle Guy, and we're coming back in about half an hour.
Take care, guys.
Yeah.